institutions. The N2C took place in Sharm el-Sheikh for like 1 week, and for enhancing the auditing system and the auditing and monitoring system within the all the participating countries, and especially, of course, from the Austria, as the main location of the N2C is in Austria. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we still ahead on our today's edition of the Breakfast Show, and now we're talking about the pivotal environmental, or the pivotal developmental role of Egypt within the African continent, as Egypt is really enhancing its developmental role through structural, infrastructural projects, mega projects in the African continent, banking sectors, establishing bankings, collaboration in great sectors, like in key sectors like agriculture, pharmaceuticals, many key aspects and key sectors. We are now developing or enhancing our collaboration within the African continent. And to shed more light on this, we are delighted to be joined here in the studio with our prominent guest, Engineer Hassan Shabaan, the development expert. Engineer Hassan, it's a great pleasure having you here with us in the studio.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine, alhamdulillah. Well, talking about the pivotal role of Egypt within the African continent, but we've got to start, of course, first of all, with the diplomatic efforts, because if there is no peace and stability, there won't be development, first of all. And this is always what the President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is always affirming on. So, first of all, we are exerting great efforts to reveal peace and stability in the African continent, in particular in Sudan, Libya, the reconstruction of Libya, the the internally even between the struggles over there in Libya, in Sudan, in Somalia, and many conflicts, spots of conflicts in the African continent. How do you find this role first as paving the way for the developmental role of Egypt?
You see, the slogan of the partnership of people in countries eliminate the possibility of wars and disputes, actually. So actually, if the governments in Africa actually just decide to try to utilize the resources to the benefit of the people and create chances to have common projects between the countries, this will completely eliminate the possibility of any disputes between the countries, because we have common interest. If we became partners, this is common interest for both, or for a group of countries. The role that Egypt should play in Africa is very important. Egypt was always a country that took care of countries that were under occupation, foreign occupation, for some time. We supported these countries till they got their independence. Being a leading country in Africa, that was our role that we played for so many years, actually. And most of the African countries still appreciate the role that Egypt played, and we have excellent relations with most of the African countries. We mean good for all the countries, actually. Egypt is a country that actually are very capable of providing experience for underdeveloped countries to catch up with the development programs in other countries. I think Egypt have, finished the majority of its infrastructure projects within the square that we call Egypt, our beloved country. Okay, it's about time to connect our country seriously with infrastructure with other African countries to make it easy for trade, industry, and export, import raw materials from Egypt or from the African countries. This means actually our neighbors, we have about 8 neighboring countries that do not have shores actually. They're close countries like Chad, Benin, Dahomey, Burkina Faso, Niger. All of these countries do not have ports on shores. They don't have the Mediterranean, they don't the luxury of the Red Sea and so forth. And actually we should invest our location. We always claimed that we are the gate to Africa. We have a very special strategic location. Maybe
but we haven't used this to the optimum. I mean,
right.
Yeah, being the gateway of Africa.
Especially Suez Canal added value to our location, definitely.
Yeah.
But again, we're going to have to utilize our location in a better way, meaning our ports on the Red Sea, like Safaja, Qusair, Marsa Alam, all of these ports could be developed and allocate like free zones in this area and give each of the 8 countries that do not have ports a location in this free zone, a logistic location, a logistic hub, like Jabal Ali or anything.
Yeah.
Okay, connect this hub by a highway or a railway.
Yes, we are working on this now. We are developing this. I mean,
actually, we have a lot of
developmental
yes.
projects
There
ease
is
the supply chain and to ease the trade and investment development with the
actually
African countries.
In the Golden Triangle in Kenya, Valley of Kenya,
Yep.
there is a lot of activities actually right now. With little modification, actually, we could penetrate, cross the River Nile all the way to Uwainat and penetrate to Chad. The government in Libya actually is paving a road to N'Djamena, the capital of Chad. We could intersect with this highway and continue all the way to penetrate to other African countries. This road could be actually supported and by the BRICS countries actually, because all of the trade that comes from the Far East, it could come to this logistic hub and then be transported by railway or highway to the closed African countries, as I said, the 8 countries. This actually will create a revenue that I don't want to say that will compete with the revenue that Suez Canal gives us, but again it has an advantage because most of these 8 countries have very fertile soil and free irrigation. Rainfall rates are very high in these countries. Okay, if we sign a protocol with these countries,
that's why we are saying that agriculture is one of the key sectors of collaboration between Egypt and the African countries.
Definitely, definitely. If we actually sign a strategic protocol, we could actually have agricultural settlements in each of these countries, send some of our young people and work in agriculture in these areas, and all the cars or the railway cars actually that actually carry goods from the Red Sea to this country will not come back to Egypt empty, because these agricultural settlements will have productions could be loaded again to Egypt, especially if we choose the right crops that helps us and close certain gaps in our import schedule. We need to really look at our location. We need to look. Let me
How about here? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but here you got me to the question about the Freedom Road. Here, how to use it, and especially in particular to the countries who do not, the countries which have no ports, and how to even to bind them through the ports of the Red Sea.
Well, actually, we have a lot of ideas actually that could be implemented in this subject. I think, let me surprise you. At one time, Egypt was the leading country, not in Africa, but in the world, in growing cotton. Let me surprise you and tell you that Burkina Faso today is the leading country in Africa in growing cotton. And if we have a country like Burkina Faso that doesn't have ports, but it grows cotton, we could actually use some of the cotton that Burkina Faso produces in in our factories in Mahalla, and and actually because we need our soil, the fertile soil in Delta and Valley, to grow strategic crops like corn and so forth. But if we have a friendly and neighboring country like Burkina Faso that actually are connected with our prospective project, we could actually get the cotton from Burkina, and we need to integrate the whole formula actually. A lot of raw material, mining, all of these 8 countries are very rich in minerals and copper, uranium, name it. You'll find it in these 8 countries. As well as I said, the fertile soil, cheaper irrigation systems, and mobilizing some of our youth to Africa will improve the relation between the Egyptian people and each of the people in each of these countries actually. A lot of ideas that we could implement in developing our future relation with Africa, and we will be really the gate to Africa if we implement this idea.
Keeping the diplomatic and the friendly relations and ties with the African countries, they are really paving the way for the afterwards for the trade and investmental collaboration. So how you weigh the mega projects and the infrastructural developmental mega projects like building roads, bridges, establishing or working on the reconstruction process after, of course, the disputes and etc. First of all, as paving the way for the economic collaboration.
Actually, Egypt contributed quite a bit to a lot of major projects, mega projects in Africa, in Tanzania. Arab contractors were there. They established the
They're
Nyerere.
Working great over there.
The Nyerere Dam. We have, we contributed to a lot of mega projects in Africa, and we're very active in this respect. But again, still, there is a lot to be done in Africa. Africa is still a virgin continent.
Of course.
In spite of the fact of the occupation and the bleeding resources to other countries, but still, Africa is still very rich with resources. And I think with the experiences that we have in Egypt, and we have a lot of experts actually, we could have a situation where it will be a win-win situation to Egypt as well as the other countries.
African countries. In terms of the high competition nowadays in the African continent, as you mentioned, the African continent is really the continent of opportunities. It's the virgin continent. And that's why all these superpowers are now, they are racing to approach and to reach to the heart of the African continent, like Russia, China, Japan, USA. So that's why the competition is really high, being in the center of Africa, and through our policy, talking always as the voice of Africa, as our political leadership is always doing in the international events, talking with in favor of all the interests of the African countries. How do you find such competition and in achieving the AFCFTA? Till now, we cannot even reach to a comprehensive phase of approaching the free trade area.
We need to invest this competition to the benefit of the African countries, actually. We don't want this competition to take an aggressive shape. I mean, as I said, the partnership of people in countries eliminate the possibility of aggression and instability. So I think if wisely...
It will never be aggressive. It must be friendly, and through achieving the interests, the mutual interests between the bilateral,
I think we should invest, you know, the ideas that China have, like the Silk Road and so forth, in something like what I proposed, the road that penetrates the heart of Africa laterally, parallel to the equator. Because actually, I think the U.S. is very also ambitious, and the U.S. government knows exactly that the French influence is withdrawing a little bit in certain countries in Africa and so forth.
After the revolution in Niger, and yes.
And I think this is a great chance for the U.S. to repay the African Americans who actually contributed to the U.S. and return the favor to Africa. I think the U.S. could play a very positive role. President Donald Trump is a very ambitious president. He's looking for Nobel. I think if
through ending many disputes,
if he returns the favor, and
great also in closing deals, and what he achieved also in the South Asian conference over there. Yes, I think
peace is the gate to Nobel. I think the U.S. The president is economically oriented. He's actually, I think he's raising the slogan that if the politics do not have a positive economic return, it is a failure. Exactly. So actually, he's implementing policies that always have a positive return on.
And this slogan of which I've started even our speech, concerning, of course, peace and stability first of all, and then building on this the developmental projects or any development or investment or trade collaboration. Yeah, Egypt is also very active in supporting Africa in realizing all the goals of the developmental or the sustainable development or the African agenda of 2063. How do you find the role of Egypt achieving the African agenda of 2063 also?
You see, I'm going to touch a very sensitive matter, which is the climate changes and the change of rainfall in Africa, generally speaking, and the location of the rainfall. I think we're witnessing really severe changes as we experienced recently the extra waters that actually fell rainfall in East Africa. I think should Egypt implement the idea of having a satellite. This satellite is in charge of controlling all the water resources in Africa, and it has programs for all the dams, lakes, reservoirs, rainfall rates, and actually it eliminates the human error and the human interference in discharging water in different branches of the rivers and so forth. I think if all of the African countries will implement this idea of having this satellite, I think Africa will utilize in a better way all the water resources, rainfall rates, have common projects. Let me add one little thing to you. Actually, even in East Africa, our brothers in Ethiopia, they have the Lake Tana and the Blue Nile and so forth. But again, the rainfall rate is very high in this area.
Yep.
And 400 billion cubic meters of
which
water.
They couldn't even estimate in the right way before building the dam.
Not only that, this dam actually is on the river. I'm talking about a rain that falls outside the Nile basin.
Yep.
And all this water goes to the Gulf of Aden, completely wasted. If we all cooperate and stop wasting water in common projects, help one another, because actually it's a waste that we cannot afford.
It's a matter of life and death anyway.
Also in Congo,
yep,
they are establishing the biggest dam on the Congo River, the Inga dam. This Inga dam is capable of producing electricity enough to lighten the whole of Africa, enough power to supply African countries with electricity on its own.
Wow.
And it could
through
be
Congo only.
Yes, and it could be exported to Europe, because we don't need electricity.
Yep.
So we have to connect all the electrical grids together.
Exactly.
And Egypt actually,
there are so many energy connections and energy projects as well between Egypt and the African continent.
In order for Egypt to be the door that actually leads to export this electricity, clean electricity to Europe.
Exactly, because we are the gate to Europe.
Right.
Yes,
so if the Inga dam is connected to the Renaissance Dam, to our Aswan Dam, High Dam in Aswan, and so forth, then we will have a lot of energy that could be exported to Europe. And Egypt could benefit from this transfer of electricity. We could get a percentage of this electricity as a fee for crossing our country to Europe. Yes. This is economy, and we could benefit a lot from cooperation with other countries. It requires a lot of political imagination that have an economical return. As I said, any political decision that doesn't have an positive economic return requires to be looked at again carefully, because it might be not the right decision.
Yeah.
So.
Your tips as a development expert, engineer Hassan, please, for Egypt to increase its existence or to enhance its existence in the African countries through the more developmental mega projects for the near future.
Well, you know, we definitely have a lot of experience.
You talked about the energy connections, for example, and through Congo and the dam of Ethiopia,
the
etc.
African grid.
Yes, exactly. So what else what more we could do to enhance the trade investment opportunities, to the developmental goals of the sustainable development, etc.?
I think Europe could play a role because there is a lot of chances for to industrialize Africa, actually, because Africa is still a raw material provider. We need to convince European countries to invest.
To fund and to invest,
right,
yes, and this is always what President El-Sisi is asking for as a voice of the African continent. Yes.
We have a lot of agricultural crops that could be actually utilized to in industries. A lot of projects actually. Mining is a major. Mining is a major issue in Africa, and I think Egypt started to care for mining in Egypt, within Egypt. And I think this will be a beginning of a new era for us, because I think we're going to have a lot of expertise in this field within few years, actually.
Yeah, of course, we got many expertise like you and like other expertise really in Egypt. Engineer Hassan Shabaan, development experts, many thanks for being with us and for your insights and visions.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Have a nice day. Well, ladies and gentlemen, by this we come to the end of this speech of this conversation for now, and we still have more. Stay tuned. Short break, and we'll be right back.